Hello, I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan. I'm a doctor, but I'm also a cosmetic formulator specifically for skin of colour. So today's video has been requested a lot, so sorry it's taking me this long to make it. It is perioral pigmentation. How do we treat darkening that happens around the mouth area? It is very common in females who have skin of colour. It tends to happen during puberty. The darkening tends to happen at various parts of the body at the same time. So the pubic area, the groin area, the underarm area, and around the mouth. The cause is largely unknown. It tends to be just put down to hormonal, meaning that estrogen rises during puberty and the melanocytes become triggered. Those are cells producing the pigment melanin. Now, with skin of color, our melanocytes are larger than for Caucasian skin. So our cells are much easier to trigger than Caucasian skin. This is why I always say one scratch, one bite, or one burn, and we hyperpigment. And actually the same is true of puberty. As soon as we go through it, various parts of the body darken, which doesn't really tend to happen for Caucasian skin. And this is why I created this whole channel. This channel is dedicated to skin of color because we do have different skin conditions. The composition of our skin is different. We have less ceramides. Our melanocytes are larger. We have to be a lot more careful to avoid any inflammation. And it was essential that this channel was also non-sponsored, meaning that no brand will ever be able to sponsor me now, in the future, or in the past, because we did need a video library for our skin of color family. The common complaint that happens with periorbital pigmentation is foundation not matching. So what will often happen is you'll put foundation everywhere, and then around the mouth there it will look ashy. That's the word that gets used a lot. So people tend to color correct this area and use peaches or greens or oranges or reds underneath, and then put their foundation on top in order for it to match. If this is something that you guys have had experience with, can you write down below which color correctors that you love? Because I think it'd be very helpful, considering we've all got skin of color, to see which color correctors everybody's using. The one I used to use that I love but is finished is now Urban Decay Naked. I think I've literally, ever got any left? I've literally got the last bit of this left. It's amazing and it's empty. I'm actually thinking I might just go into the lab and make my own one because the color is just so perfect for me. But it is actually something quite difficult for me. If I ever get a blemish or anything, I pop it on first and then I put my foundation on as usual. Now, some other causes of pigmentation around the mouth area, common ones, would be melasma on the upper lip area. This tends to happen from late 20s onwards, especially if you spend a long time in the sun, if you haven't been using your sunscreen from a young age, or your hats, wide-brimmed hats, then it does tend to happen. It happens a lot with athletes who are sweating outside all day long, or if you're on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, or on the contraceptive pill. A number of times I've heard, as soon as you go on the contraceptive pill, it can lead to melasma. This is, it's very common. So it's just something to be aware of. The other big one are specific antibiotics. Antibiotics can lead to photosensitivity of the skin, and so you go out into the sun and pigmentation suddenly develops. It doesn't just tend to develop in one area, it does tend to develop everywhere, but it's just something else to be aware of. The next one is dermatitis. Now, dermatitis just means inflammation of the skin, literally dermatitis. And so anything that can inflame the skin can darken the skin. The most common would be eczema, lip licking. That's the other one that tends to happen in the corners. When you're constantly licking the corners, they start to crack. You might get angulaculitis or just general inflammation and then darkening of this area. The other big one is contact dermatitis that can happen from any of your cosmetics, your creams, but also your color cosmetic. This is why I tend to recommend safe products, no denatured alcohol, no fragrance, no essential oils, because the number one cause of contact dermatitis is fragrance. And essential oils sensitizes the skin, and denatured alcohol dries the skin. So this is why any product I ever recommend on this channel is safe. That's just a rule of thumb that makes it easy for you to remember. I've also, if you follow me on Instagram, Dr. Vanita Rattan, then I actually put every single product that is safe on there, just so that you can pick and choose if you're looking for a primer or if you're looking for a foundation, which ones are name safe. So now that you've got this pigmentation, what do you do? Number one, you want to remove the trigger. So for example, if it is cosmetics, or if it is from lip licking, or if it is from eczema, stop the trigger. So if it's eczema, you want to treat the eczema, etc. So that's the first thing you need to do. Second thing is you want to use safe products, of course. Number third, you want to moisturize 3 times a day with a fatty moisturizer. The reason I say this is because when your skin becomes dry, those skin cells are packed with pigment and they're stuck together. This is why as soon as you moisturize, have you noticed that your skin starts to glow? Because not only is it an emollient and you're pushing the skin cell edges down, but actually you're introducing water molecules into the epidermis, the top layer of skin. And so you're separating those skin cells slightly, which will help prevent this concentration of pigment in a localized area. It also creates a healing environment for the skin. The next thing, fourth thing I would say is make sure you're wearing your mineral SPF50. I do tend to recommend mineral because it's anti-inflammatory. And the ones that I tend to use are Color Science SPF50, which is tinted, or sheer zinc from Neutrogena, but it does have a bit of a white cast, and of course Inzincable, which is basically a mineral sunscreen with Melasma in it, specifically for pigmentation. The main thing with that was to make sure that there was no white cast as well. Now for your nighttime skincare routine, it's important to be wearing tyrosinase inhibitors, because the mistake people make is that they spend a lot of time exfoliating the skin because you get temporary brightening, because all you're doing is removing the dead layers of skin that are packed with pigment, but you haven't treated the root cause. And so that melanocyte, the cells that produce the pigment melanin, are still hyperactive and still overproducing pigment. And your skin is a living organ. Those skin cells are going to keep coming to the surface. So you could potentially be damaging your skin by over exfoliating it, and you're not treating the root cause. So it doesn't really make any sense. What you want to do are use ingredients such as azelaic acid, kojic dipalmitate, alpha-arbutin, vitamin C, tranexamic acid, licorice root extract. These are all great tyrosinase inhibitors that are safe for skin of color, that are not going to lead to more irritation of the skin. I've made you a series of videos on pigmentation, on how to layer the ordinary for pigmentation. I always say start cheap, so I'd start with the ordinary. For those in India, I've done one for Be Minimalist on how to layer it for pigmentation. For those in the US and other parts of the world, I've done one on Paula's Choice, how to layer Paula's Choice for pigmentation. The other one I like that you can buy online is Good Molecules. I've got a great discoloration serum. I always say start cheap. So start with those products first. Do it for a good 3 to 6 months. If you're seeing results, great. That's all you need to do. No need to do anything else. If that doesn't work, then I did create the facial pigmentation kit for you as an upgrade. So this has got 10 tyrosinase inhibitors in it, and it's been designed specifically for skin of color. So this is the next stage, but it is expensive. It's £110 per kit. It lasts you about 4 or 5 months. But don't start with that. It's expensive. Start cheap always and then upgrade. Some of the classic mistakes, I've already discussed exfoliation or over exfoliation. The other one is people going on YouTube and just watching a DIY video, and they talk about apple cider vinegar and lemon juice, which hopefully all of you know by now, the pH is far too low for our skin. Our skin has a pH of about 5. Lemon juice is a pH of 2, and it's just far too acidic, can burn the skin and lead to pigmentation for skin of color, the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. So that's the number one mistake. If you want me to make you a video on what to do once you've burnt your skin, let me know. If you just write that down below and I'll make that video for you. I do believe I've done a video on what to do once you've burnt your skin from other hyperpigmentation treatments, such as acids that were too harsh, peeling acids that were too harsh, for example. The next one is to be careful with overuse of hydroquinone, because it can lead to rebound pigmentation, where you have used it not under supervision, and even sometimes under supervision. When you stop it, you tend to see great results, and then you come off of it and it can come back worse and in other parts of the face. So I'm not a huge fan of hydroquinone for skin of color. A lot of people see great results on it. It's just, it wouldn't be my first choice. I'd also say avoid laser for pigmentation in skin of color, because laser is too harsh for our skin. And with microdermabrasion, it gives you temporary results. It's very similar to exfoliation. You're basically just taking the top layer of skin away, but you're not treating the root cause, which is a hyperactive melanocyte. And so you will again see that brightening effect. It is a safe procedure for skin of color to do, but it's temporary, and you know, I'd rather you just had long-term results. Don't forget, I'm in the comment section for 1 hour at the launch of every single video. Please do follow me on Instagram, Dr. Vanita Rattan and Skincare by Dr. V. I've now got a private Facebook group called Dr. V Inky Hackers. There are some questions you have to answer to get in, but if you've watched enough of my videos, you'll be fine. And don't forget to download your free guide for skin of color, which is down below too. And please tell me which other videos you want me to make for you. Thank you.